Today we will be turning this 10 feet of PVC pipe into a water filtration system capable of turning your dirty water into clean water. And so to start, we're going to be cutting off a gallon tube, which is 3 feet approximately, give or take. Once you figure it out mathematically, pi r squared times h, you know the whole deal. You can figure out how long you need, and that's about 3 feet. So we're going to start off by cutting that out, and then we'll go from there.
All right.
Okay. So now we've got our little more than a gallon container for the dirty water to go into. So now we have to reduce that to the 2-inch size so that we can adequately hook up a bivalve. So we're going to put on some primer, then some PVC cement, and cement this bad boy in.
It's on one.
Okay, is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have our 3-foot PVC pipe that's 3 inches in diameter, giving us a little bit more than a gallon of water. So this is basically our holding tank. We put on the reducing valve in the last part, but the reason we put on the reducing valve is the largest valve that they open or sell at Home Depot is a 2-inch valve. So we have to connect it up with 2-inch PVC pipe, which goes inside of the reducing valve. Then we have a male connector that goes on top, which then can screw in to the valve. So once we do that, this will be the holding tank, and you can just open and close the water whenever you want. Okay, so now we have our 3-foot holding tank, followed by the reducer, the 2-inch pipe, and then the male adapter, which then is going to connect up into this valve, which we'll twist on pretty loosely for now. And now we can open and close the water at any time. Okay, so now we have our 2-foot, 2-inch PVC pipe. Now this is going to be the actual filter. So on each end, we're going to put these 2 male adapters so that it's going to be easily removable in the long run. So once we have this filter, it can just twist on and off to this to the bivalve here, and you can just twist it off to replace it. So once we get the cloth filter, we're going to stuff that in here. And the water's going to have to travel through this filter. Once this is, so it's going to go like this. It'll travel through this filter and then out into the holding tank on the bottom. Okay, so now we have our holding tank going down to the valve, and then we have the filter itself. Although we don't have the cloth inside of here, we're going to stuff that in the next segment. And all we have to do is then twist this bad boy right into this. I'm going to do it loosely for now. And then, now we have our holding tank up here, which goes into this, which can be turned on and off. And then, if it's on, it goes into this, which is going to be the filter, which is now going to attach down into another one of these, into the bottom, to create a holding tank. Okay, so now we have cut our 3-foot segment of the bottom holding tank. So as you can see, it's about the same size as the holding tank on the top, which holds the dirty water. The only difference is this water inside of here will be clean. It's going to be pretty much a similar build to this. There's only going to be a couple differences. So we're going to put a reducer on here, which is going to connect up to this female adapter, which can then be screwed into here. Then, on the other side, is going to be another reducer. except on this, we're going to have this plug, which converts this 2-inch down into 1.5 inches. Or I think it's actually 1 inch, 1 inch. So plug that in there, followed by a 1-inch tube, followed by a converter screw down into a 3/4 inch, which is your standard plug for most types of like 2-liter bottles and things like that, and a lot of the faucets. So that's the overall design, and we'll see you when I finish. Okay, so now we have most of the parts here. So up here we have our dirty water holding tank, which you saw in the first part of the video. Now on the bottom of this is going to go the valve. So just give this in here to give you an idea. So this can be turned on and off, as I said before. Then, connected to that can be our filter, connected on each end with male end so it can be easily removed. It goes into this end of the filter, or the valve. And then, bottom of that goes the clean water holding tank, which, as you can see, has a female adapter, a little bit of 2-inch PVC, a reducer to bring it back up to the 3-inch, another reducer, followed by a plug to take it down to a 1-inch pipe, and then into a reducer down into a male 3/4 inch end. So you can just hook this thing in here. And you've got your whole system. Now, we're going to have to make a second filter so that can be easily exchanged with this filter so that in the end it's pretty easy to replace and then clean. Okay, so I bet throughout this entire video you've been wondering, how is he going to support this 12-foot monstrosity? So, what we have here at the base is going to be a recycling bin, basically. In the bottom of it, we've cut a 3-inch hole, so it's just wide enough for this 3-inch PVC pipe to go through, but for the reducer not to go through, so it's going to prevent a little bit of that. Outside of this is going to be coming there's about a 1-inch hole here, through which a 3/4 inch PVC pipe is. This piece here is going to have a little elbow, which is in here, on top of it, then a female adapter, which then connects in with that 1-inch the 3/4 inch PVC pipe, which then has a faucet on the other end eventually, so that we can have the water come out easily. So this is going to be the base. Then, supporting the PVC pipe beneath that, because this is going to be a little bit about 2 feet off the ground, is going to be 4-inch PVC that's going to come up to this reducer here and has a nice clean seal around that. So hopefully, in the end, we'll be able to just transport the base of this pretty easily. Okay, so now we've cut this 4-inch PVC pipe so it's going to fit perfectly underneath in order to help support the system beneath. It's going to come up, seal around here, and right here you see we have the 1-inch pipe, which is going to go through the end, and then have a PVC cemented into here. We'll cut it off about here, and have the spigot come down so that they can get water whenever you need.
Go.
Okay, so now we've completed our system, PVC cemented, and down here is the bottom holding tank. So the tank, the part where the clean water will end up, and down here we have our little spigot, so you can easily get the clean water out. So, just to test it, we're going to pour some clean water in here. So that's about probably 1.5 liters, maybe 2 liters. And then, voila. Is there any finder sound?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I haven't shown you throughout this video is how we get these little threads to actually be sealed. So, common misconception is that when you just tighten this on as tight as you can, it's going to be perfectly sealed, water's not going to come out. But the problem is, it will. There's enough space in between the threads that water is able to seep out, especially at high pressures. So just in case that happens, we have Teflon tape, which goes around the edge here, like this. And you wrap it around 2 or 3 times. Like so. Now what that does, again, is grants a little extra bondage and better seal between the threads and the any other thing that the receiving threads. So up here we have the dirty water container, and that's going to be filled, and that's going to have this attached to it. So we just put the Teflon tape on, and then keep going to this. Now, in order to ensure that you get a good seal, you also use a pipe wrench. Now this thing is, where's the other one? The pipe wrench is designed so it increases in size, different pipe levels, and gives you a little more leverage. That's important because if you get a little bit more leverage, basic physics tells us that you're going to get more force applied to the object on the hull. So you can extend it pretty far. This one's a 2-inch pipe wrench. This is how high we're going. And then you can move it. Okay, so you saw the small-scale demonstration when we put it into just the clean water tank, but now we've got our filter without the actual filter inside of it, combined with the overall dirty water holding tank. So, right now we've got this sealed, and this is how you'll put the dirty water in. You just keep it on the ground, take your dirty water, which in this case is clean, pour it in. Remember, as I said before, this is a little bit larger than it needs to be. A gallon is 2.7 feet of 3-inch PVC. This is about 3 feet, so we've got about an extra 6 inches here on the top combined once you take in the valves down here. So, let's put this onto here. And open it. And water comes out. Beautiful. Now, once the filter comes in, that valve will be closed. It'll just come into this holding tank as it filters through this filter. And in the end, you can just access clean water when you need. Sorting containers like this, or whatever it is. The system is designed to be able to store at least a gallon, but in the long run, you're going to want to have other storage containers because a gallon at a time is pretty small. But the good thing about this design is it can be pretty easily magnified into large scale because of how high it is. The easy thing to do is just get PVC connectors so you can have more than a gallon, more than just this 3 foot. You can end up getting a lot more, and you just need a little bit more structural support. Or you can just widen the PVC, in which case gives you more of a overall size.